On August 19th, 2024, three teenagers set out to pull off one of the boldest and most ambitious scams in crypto history. They were just between 18 and 20 years old, but the plan they put together? Most people wouldn't dare imagine it, even at 100 years old. At exactly 8 p.m. that evening, one of the biggest whales in the crypto world, a major investor, got a strange phone call. The caller claimed to be from Google's tech team and warned him that there was unusual activity happening in his accounts. He had to act fast, they said, before hackers broke in. Just a few hours later, another call came in. This time, it was someone else, also claiming to be from tech support. The warning? The breach was almost complete. He needed to take action immediately. Now, this wasn't your average crypto investor. This guy was a seasoned billionaire, one of the biggest names in the crypto game. He knew how the system worked, but even with all that experience, he found himself cracking under the pressure. Every second felt like a digital battlefield, a high-stakes standoff between a legendary crypto whale and three fearless teenagers who had nothing to lose. The target? $230 million. But the real question is, who came out on top? The digital titan or the teenage trio? What happened next wasn't just a theft attempt. It was a full-on mental chess match, a twisted battle of brains and nerve, a ruthless cyber war where the old guard faced off against wild, young ambition. In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most complex digital heists ever attempted on American soil. But did the plan work? Were the attackers genius-level coders, or just kids who mastered psychological warfare to shake their target off balance? And was the whale really ready for this game? Or did he fall into a trap he couldn't escape? This wasn't just a robbery, it was a war of nerves. And the question is, who won? But before we get into the gritty details of what happened, we need to understand something crucial. What exactly is a whale in the crypto world? When we say whale, we're not talking about your average trader. A whale is a force, a person or a company, who controls a massive chunk of the market. With one click, buy or sell, they can shake the entire system. They move prices. Every eye in the industry watches their every move. Every breath they take matters. Whales aren't just rich. They're deep into the game. They've got analytics tools, years of experience, and a serious understanding of cybersecurity. Scamming them? It's supposed to be damn near impossible. Now in crypto, there are two types of wallets, hot and cold. Hot wallets are online, used for day-to-day trading, and they've got high-level security that's super tough to crack, if not impossible. Cold wallets? Those are physical storage devices, like USBs or hard drives, used just to store crypto. And even if someone gets their hands on one, getting inside is almost impossible without the keys. Crypto whales aren't afraid of anyone. A single tweet, or even a random like on X, formerly Twitter, from one of them can send the market soaring or crashing. The most famous example? Elon Musk. When he once tweeted just 2 words, Dogecoin, the coin's value shot up by 600% in days. When he said Bitcoin looks strong, it jumped over 15% the same day. Other times, he dropped cryptic words like totemin, and the markets went nuts trying to figure out what it meant. But it's not just Musk. There are other massive players out there, big-time traders, who can move entire markets just by following someone new. These guys? If they sneeze, the market catches the flu. Now imagine this for a second. Could an 18-year-old kid seriously think about stealing from someone like Elon Musk? The logical answer, hell no. But the whale in this story wasn't Elon Musk. It was another giant, someone still completely anonymous to this day. Why the mystery? Two big reasons. First, in fraud and embezzlement cases, the names of the victims are usually kept confidential to protect their privacy. Second, this specific whale officially requested that his name not be disclosed in the case, fearing damage to his reputation. He manages a crypto fund worth over $2 billion. If news got out that he was the target of a near-successful heist, investors might pull out or abandon any coin he's involved with. The ripple effect? Way bigger than a $230 million loss. And that is where the most intense digital showdown begins. But before we dive in, let's break the story down into two teams. Team 1, the three masterminds who planned and carried out the entire operation, the Hacker Squad. Team 2, the so-called tech support, the ones who contacted the whale step by step. But tech support? From where exactly? It was exactly 8 p.m. when the first call came in. On the line, a man claiming to be a support agent from Google. Calm voice, professional tone, and he said, "Good evening, sir. This is the Google technical support team. We've detected suspicious activity on your accounts. You need to act immediately." Naturally, the whale was skeptical, but the voice sounded reassuring, confident, and the number showing on the screen looked like a legit US line. A conversation kicked off between them. The whale tried to verify, "Who is this guy? Is he really from Google or just some scammer?" So he asked, "What kind of strange activity are you talking about?" The agent replied, "There's been some suspicious behavior on your Gmail account and also on your iCloud." The whale pressed him further. "What kind of phone is linked to those accounts?" Without missing a beat, the agent said, "iPhone," and even gave him an exact geographic location. But that wasn't all. The guy started firing off precise technical questions. "What devices are connected to your account? Where are these devices located? Does anyone else have access to them? Have you received any weird notifications or been added to unknown apps?" It was clear. Whoever this was, they knew their stuff. They spoke the language. They were smart, methodical, and dangerously convincing. Minute by minute, the whale started to feel the pressure. This wasn't just some prank. It felt like a real cyber attack, a calculated infiltration. The fake agent then started explaining how login attempts were happening. He described them as coming from shady locations, spread out over time, coordinated, measured. The whale, still cautious, asked a smart question. "How did these hackers even get access to me?" The agent responded with complete confidence. "Most likely, a few weeks ago, you connected to a compromised Wi-Fi network, maybe in a hotel or a restaurant. That's probably how they got your data." And then came the line that made the whale's blood run cold. The guy said, "From what I can tell, about 3 weeks ago, you were connected to a hacked Wi-Fi network in Thailand." Everything froze. Because that was 100% true. The whale had been on vacation in Thailand 3 weeks earlier. He'd hopped from one public Wi-Fi to another throughout the trip. It wasn't just that this stranger knew that. It was how he said it. The timing, the delivery, the detail. That's when the whale gave in. He started cooperating, gave the man his details, walked through the process step by step, gave up his Gmail info, his iCloud, and began what he thought was a protection plan. At the end of the call, the agent said, "We'll follow up with you and keep you updated on the situation as it unfolds." Then he hung up. What the whale didn't know was that this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. of the biggest digital con job in crypto history. At this point, the man was completely mentally wrecked. Over 70% of his wealth was in digital form, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and other virtual assets. The question now was, did that Google support agent actually protect him? Unfortunately. Just 3 hours after the first call, the whale got another one, this time from a guy named Bax. He introduced himself as a technical support agent from Gemini, the well-known crypto trading platform. Same vibe as before. Calm, professional, clear. His voice gave off confidence and authority. Bax told him that there was an ongoing hacking attempt targeting his crypto wallet, and that the hackers had already bypassed 2 firewalls. In fact, they'd even managed to log into one of his accounts. After a long conversation packed with precise technical details, the whale became convinced. One of his accounts had already been breached. Panicked, he asked, "What can we do now?" Bax told him there was only one option left. They had to reset his two-factor authentication, 2FA, immediately, before the hackers broke into the rest of his accounts. For those who don't know, 2FA is one of the strongest layers of security out there. It's a temporary 6-digit code sent through an app or SMS. You need to enter it after your password to log in. Without that code, you can't access the account, even if you know the password. Technically, it made perfect sense, but doing it right would require tight coordination. Nervous and sweating, the whale asked, "How are we going to pull that off so fast?" Bax calmly replied, "Let me access your device directly. I'll handle it for you." And just like that, without hesitation, the whale opened up his laptop. He launched AnyDesk, a remote access program, and gave Bax full control of his screen. As the whale sat there, watching everything happen in real time, the support agent went to work. He changed the password for the Bitcoin wallet. He reset the two-factor authentication. He updated the security settings. Then, Bax leaned back and said, "Dan, you're safe now. We stopped them just in time." Now imagine being in the whale's shoes. Everything you own is hanging by a thread. And this voice on the line? He just saved you. Of course, you'd feel grateful, relieved, safe. But what the whale didn't realize was that the support team he trusted was the same crew trying to rob him blind? Yeah, the very people claiming to help him were actually the attackers. And here's the wild part most people don't know. These guys weren't cybersecurity experts. They didn't go to school for this. They didn't have degrees or certifications. They were just teenage amateurs with genius-level nerve control. The entire operation was led by a kid named Ver Stahl, barely 18 years old. Stahl had spent months studying how digital security works, but more importantly, he'd been tracking the whale across social media. He knew. The whale used an iPhone because he once posted a screenshot on X, formerly Twitter, showing an iOS notification that he'd been in Thailand 3 weeks ago from the vacation pics he uploaded at restaurants, hotels, and tourist spots. And Stahl? He used that info like a scalpel. In that first phone call, he told the whale that the breach likely happened in Thailand, via a compromised public Wi-Fi, which made total sense. Most travelers hop on public networks. There was no reason to doubt it. The tone, the timing, the technical lingo, it all sounded so real. The call lasted 25 minutes, a full-on psychological operation, and Stahl walked away victorious. He got the whale to hand over the keys to his most valuable digital assets. And the craziest part? He did it all using basic information anyone could have found online. But under pressure, The whale thought he was dealing with an elite cybersecurity expert. The second call came exactly 3 hours later. This time, the caller was a 21-year-old named John Del Serrano. After gaining access to the whale's accounts, the crew already knew exactly which crypto trading platform he used. They waited just long enough for the right moment. Then Serrano called, posing as a technical support agent from that platform. And the first thing he said was enough to shatter the whale's nerves. "One of your accounts has been compromised." That sentence alone completely wrecked the man's mental balance. Bit by bit, Serrano convinced him to open his laptop and give him full remote access. So now, from the comfort of his bedroom, Serrano was literally inside the whale's device, controlling everything, like he was sitting right next to him. He got the password to the trading platform. He got the two-factor authentication code. He got everything. And when it was done, Serrano closed the session with a calm, "It's all over. You're safe now." But the truth was, he was anything but safe. In the third and final stage of the attack, the crew drained a mind-blowing 4,046 bitcoins from the whale's digital wallet. At the time, that was worth over $230 million. Today, that same stash is worth over $400 million. And the shock doesn't stop there. Their third partner, a 20-year-old named Malone Lam, was the one who handled the actual transfer of funds. And get this, he filmed the entire process while the crew watched and laughed. They split the loot among 5 members. 3 of them handled the hacks and social engineering. The other 2 were in charge of moving the money and laundering it. Then they kicked off phase 2 of the plan. Step 1. They disabled all security notifications from the wallet. That way, the whale went to bed thinking everything was fine. Completely unaware his fortune had just vanished. He wouldn't find out until the next day, by which point the money was long gone. The crew immediately started their money laundering playbook. First, they sold the Bitcoin and converted it into other cryptocurrencies. Then, they split the funds across 15 different wallets. After that, they launched a flurry of small, rapid-fire trades, to the point where each Bitcoin had changed hands more than 30 times. It became virtually impossible to trace. It was one of the most sophisticated digital money laundering operations ever seen. And by the end of that week, the funds were clean, ready to be cashed out, without raising any red flags. The gang coordinated everything through Telegram, a messaging app known for its privacy and encryption. They had a private group chat just for the 5 of them, where they discussed everything, from investments to purchases. If one of them wanted to buy a house, he had to get group approval first, to avoid drawing attention or making careless moves. Their motto was simple: all decisions must be unanimous. But then, Malone Lam started screwing things up. He lived in Los Angeles, Party Central, and he had no idea how much trouble he was attracting. He became a regular at high-end nightclubs, rolling in and shouting, "Tonight's on me!" In one wild night, he dropped $330,000 on a single party, paying for everyone's tab. His name was being chanted. He was lifted up on shoulders. They even flashed his face on the club's big screens. Malone Lam had become a full-blown nightlife celebrity, and he didn't stop there. He chartered a private jet for a party in the sky. He rented a luxury mansion in Miami. He bought 15 high-end cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches. He ordered a custom G-Wagon from Mercedes, with his name engraved on the body. He wore custom designer clothes made just for him by world-famous fashion houses. His reckless behavior started making the crew nervous. They seriously considered killing him. They feared he'd expose them all just by being careless. But they backed off for a few reasons. 1. They were still close friends. 2. Malone was their top money launderer. They couldn't operate without him. But sure enough, he got flagged. His lavish lifestyle caught the attention of U.S. federal authorities. They started asking questions because his supposed crypto earnings didn't match the life he was living. An official investigation was launched, and it wasn't a secret. But Malone Lam wasn't dumb. He hired the best lawyers money could buy and brought in a cybersecurity expert to clean up his digital footprint. Together, they scrubbed every trace of his involvement. And just like that, Malone slipped through the fingers of justice, at least for now. He went back to his life. But now, he's more careful, less flashy, and a lot harder to find. But as the old saying goes, he who cooks the poison must one day taste it. And that day, finally, came. Without warning, the man Malone Lam had trusted to protect him, the so-called cybersecurity expert he hired to wipe every trace of his digital crimes, wasn't just some tech-savvy mercenary. He was an undercover federal agent, a silent predator from the FBI, trained to blend in, wait patiently, and strike with precision. From the very moment he offered his services, he knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't just gathering evidence, he was building a case. Quietly, carefully, completely. He copied everything: chat logs, passwords, transaction records. Even the video Malone had proudly filmed himself, transferring stolen Bitcoin, was recovered and locked away in an FBI archive. But gathering dirt on Malone wasn't the hard part. The real challenge was exposing the rest of the crew. The digital ghosts who had planned and executed the biggest crypto heist the internet had ever seen. So the agent played his next card. He convinced Malone that his wallets weren't secure. He urged him to clean up his transaction history. Not to stay safe, but to give the FBI an open door. It worked. All it took was one transaction. A single fragment of stolen Bitcoin was traced back to a personal wallet, one linked to a known associate, and just like that, the first domino fell. From there, the agent followed the chain, wallet to wallet, move by move, until the full map of the operation came into focus. To protect the investigation, Malone was temporarily cleared. His name was dropped from the suspect list, all part of the strategy. Meanwhile, the FBI moved silently in the background, watching, waiting, preparing. And then, it happened. September 19th, 2024. Before dawn broke, federal agents stormed Malone Lam's luxury mansion in Los Angeles. He was arrested on the spot. Simultaneously, coordinated raids across multiple states led to the capture of every remaining member of the crew. But what came next shocked everyone. Despite the arrests, the money was gone. Most of the stolen Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of dollars, had vanished. During questioning, it became clear. The group had laundered and relocated the vast majority of the funds to undetectable locations. Even today, authorities have no idea where it went. To date, only 21% of the stolen cryptocurrency, about 1,000 Bitcoin, has been recovered. The rest? Scattered, cleaned, hidden, and likely unrecoverable. As for Malone, he personally blew through over $22 million in just a few months. Private jets, villas, supercars, lavish parties, all gone, burned. Investigators estimate that, at best, they may recover 40% of the total amount. But the rest, it's lost. Forever. And the crew? They're facing sentences of up to 18 years behind bars. But they haven't said a word. Not about the money. Not about where it's hidden. And maybe they've done the math. They're 20 years old now. They'll be free in their late 30s. Still young, still rich. Rich enough to vanish, to restart, to live in luxury if the authorities can't track them down again. This heist, deceptively simple on the surface, has become known as the largest crypto theft in internet history. Cybersecurity experts say it's almost impossible to replicate. In response, trading platforms worldwide have deployed unprecedented security protocols, which means this crime might be the first and last of its kind. But the biggest lesson, it wasn't about code or firewalls or loopholes. It was psychological warfare, fear, manipulation, control. The ability to make the victim feel safe right before the trap closed in. And according to leaked reports, the victim wasn't just a wealthy investor. He was rumored to be the founder of multiple cryptocurrencies. A financial titan, closer to a dragon than a whale. And yet, he was tricked. He was broken. And he lost everything while watching it happen on his own screen. This wasn't just a robbery. It was a masterclass in greed, betrayal, and justice. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you liked this one, you'll love what's coming up next. The story of a foolish thief whose mistake uncovered a global cybercrime network. Or the jaw-dropping tale of ATM hacks across 5 countries, executed simultaneously. Click 1 to dive in. See you in the next story.